Picture this: the dim glow of a midtown Atlanta hotel lobby camera flickers, and the footage that leaks online sends the internet into absolute chaos. At the center of it all, none other than Kirk Frost, who thought he was moving in silence, and Kendra Robinson, who apparently wasn't too shy about being seen with him. The whispers started small, just a grainy clip of Kirk holding open the door while Kendra walked inside, but by the next morning, the streets of Atlanta, the blogs, and love and hip-hop fans everywhere were screaming one thing: hotel night exposed. The storyline doesn't stop at speculation. What made the gossip nuclear was Rasheeda's reaction. Eyewitnesses claim she stormed onto set the very next day, her face tight with fury, voice shaking with rage, and she let loose the line that has now gone viral across every platform: "Stinky BBL, back off my man." That single sentence hit the culture like a wrecking ball. Fans froze, rewound, replayed. Was Rasheeda really talking to Kendra like that? Was she calling out the alleged hotel link-up in front of the entire cast? And did Kirk even bother to defend himself? Or was he caught red-handed in silence? Within hours, hashtags were trending. Hashtag StinkyBBL had Twitter in shambles. Instagram shade rooms were flooded with edits. And YouTube commentators couldn't upload fast enough. Everyone wanted to know the same thing: is this the final straw in the Frost household? And why on earth would Kendra, newly married to young Jock, even risk entangling herself in Kirk's endless cycle of drama? But the real shocker came when insider sources whispered that this wasn't the first time Kirk and Kendra had been spotted together. Supposedly, there's more footage, more texts, and even a mysterious room charge slip waiting to surface. The Frost marriage, hanging by a thread. The Robinson-Jock union, teetering on collapse. And Rasheeda, let's just say, she's done holding back her claws. This isn't just a rumor. This is the scandal that could tear two households apart and split the love and hip-hop Atlanta cast right down the middle. Fans are already bracing for the fallout. The only question is what's real, what's staged, and what explosive drama is about to unfold next. Atlanta was buzzing like a hive that night, the streets alive with whispers, the blogs updating every hour, and the cast of Love and Hip Hop already on edge after the shocking leak of that hotel footage. People couldn't believe their eyes. Kirk Frost, the man whose marriage had already survived years of betrayal, scandals, and accusations, caught once again stepping into dangerous territory. But what sent the storyline into overdrive wasn't just the fact that Kirk was spotted with another woman, it was who that woman was. Kendra Robinson, wife of young Jock, lawyer, and supposed straight shooter, who always prided herself on being above the mess, now dragged right into the mud. The whispers painted the scene vividly. Kirk had been seen walking casually into the hotel lobby, baseball cap low, jacket zipped up, doing his best to look like any other man in town. But right behind him was Kendra, heels clicking against the marble floor, phone in hand, smiling like she had nothing to hide. Security cameras don't lie. And when the blurry stills hit social media, it only took seconds before fans began piecing the story together. The narrative built itself: Kirk and Kendra, a late-night rendezvous, and a scandal that could blow apart two marriages in one season. On the Frost side, Rasheeda was livid. The moment she heard about the rumors, she didn't keep quiet. Her words echoed like a gavel slamming in court: "Stinky BBL, back off my man." That wasn't just shade, it was a declaration of war. Rasheeda, who had swallowed her pride for years, defending Kirk when the streets clowned her, now had enough. People close to her said she spent that night pacing her house, phone in one hand, wine glass in the other, calling her sister, calling Kelsey, even dialing up Carly Red just to vent. Her voice broke at one point when she shouted, "How many times do I have to be embarrassed? How many times before people realize I deserve better?" On the other side of town, young Jock was just as blindsided. Jock, who had been working overtime to repair his image after years of his own messy antics, didn't see this one coming. He told a friend at a bar that night, "I don't even care about the footage, I care about what it looks like. My wife, my lady, walking into a hotel with Kirk Frost. Nah man, that ain't it." Jock's pride was hit harder than anything. For a man known to juggle relationships, to get clowned by fans, it was a fresh wound to see Kendra tied to Kirk. Of all people, it's like betrayal on top of betrayal, he muttered, shaking his head, his drink untouched on the counter. The set of Love and Hip Hop the next morning was a battlefield. Everyone came in pretending to be calm, but the tension was suffocating. Cameras were rolling, the crew whispering, knowing today was going to be explosive. Rasheeda arrived first, looking flawless but clearly carrying fire in her eyes. She slammed her bag on the sofa and muttered, "He thinks he's slick. He thinks he's untouchable. Moments later, Kirk walked in, eyes down, trying to play it cool. The room went silent. Then Kendra entered. Her stride was firm, her chin high, like she had rehearsed her entrance. But the energy in the room shifted instantly. People turned their heads, side eyes flew across the space, and Carly Red whispered loud enough for cameras to catch, "Oh, here comes Miss Hotel Night." The crew chuckled, but the cast members froze. It didn't take long before Rasheeda snapped. She stood up, heels clicking, as she marched across the room and planted herself directly in front of Kendra. "So we doing this? You really out here sneaking around with my husband? You couldn't find somebody single. You had to come after Kirk. You nasty." Stinky BBL having her voice cracked into anger, the words flying fast. Kendra's face didn't move at first, but her eyes betrayed her irritation. "First of all," she shot back, "watch your mouth. You don't talk to me like that. You don't know what you saw. You don't know what's real. And you will not disrespect me." The room erupted. Carly covered her mouth in fake shock. Sierra gasped, and Yandi whispered to Erica, "Oh my God, this is bad." Jock, who had just walked in, froze at the sight of his wife being confronted like that. "Kendra," he said cautiously, "tell me this ain't what it looks like." But Rasheeda wasn't done. She jabbed her finger in Kirk's direction. Why can't you keep your zipper up? Why do you keep humiliating me in front of the world? I've had your back for years. I've defended you when everybody said I was stupid. And this?" With her, Kirk tried to speak, but the words stumbled out. "It's not what you think, Sheeda. It's not like that. Don't you dare say we just talked." Rasheeda screamed. Her voice echoed off the set walls, shaking even the crew. Kendra finally snapped, her lawyer composure breaking down. "I don't need Kirk. I've got a husband at home, a whole life, and a career. Do you really think I would risk it all for him? Please. This whole thing is twisted." But the whispers from the other cast members told another story. Yandi raised an eyebrow, muttering, "I don't know, sis. The footage looked real to me." Carly, never missing a chance to stir the pot, leaned into Rasheeda's ear. "If she says it's nothing, why was she even there? Nobody walks into a hotel at night for nothing." That was the breaking point. Rasheeda shoved her chair back and shouted, "You've humiliated me for the last time," before storming out, cameras following her every step. Tears blurred her mascara as she muttered, "I can't keep doing this. I can't keep letting him play me." Meanwhile, Jock stood frozen, staring at Kendra. "We gone talk about this later," he said through clenched teeth, the veins in his neck tight with anger. "But right now, you embarrassing me. You embarrassing yourself." The fallout didn't end there. The blogs lit up with news stories, some claiming Kirk had booked the room for business, others alleging there was more evidence waiting to drop. Fans filled the comments sections with fire emojis, clown memes, and non-stop debates about who was lying and who was telling the truth. At home, Rasheeda sat with Kelsey, who begged her mother not to let Kirk drag her down again. "Mama, you always say you strong. You always say you independent, but look at this. He don't care. He don't care about you, about us, about this family." Rasheeda broke down in tears, clutching her daughter's hand, whispering, "I don't know if I can do it anymore." But Kirk wasn't ready to give up his version of the truth. He called a meeting with production, insisting he had done nothing wrong, that the whole thing was blown out of proportion. "It's not what it looks like," he repeated, desperate for someone to believe him. But nobody was buying it, not when the footage was already viral. Not when Rasheeda's meltdown was trending on every platform. Not when Jock's pride was already shattered. The drama had only just begun, and everyone knew it. The Frost household was teetering on collapse. Jock and Kendra's marriage was hanging by a thread. And the cast of Love and Hip Hop was caught in the middle of a scandal that was bigger than anything they had filmed before. The streets weren't just buzzing, they were roaring. Demanding answers, demanding drama, demanding to see how this explosion would play out in the episodes to come. The air was thick with tension. The families divided, the friendships strained. And as night fell again in Atlanta, nobody knew what tomorrow would bring. Would more footage drop? Would Kirk finally admit the truth? Would Kendra confess to a mistake that could cost her everything? Or would Rasheeda walk away from it all, leaving Kirk to face the wreckage alone? One thing was certain. This was no ordinary scandal. This was a war, and it had only just started. The next day didn't bring peace, it brought fire. Atlanta woke up to a storm of notifications, hashtags, and live reactions. And the cast of Love and Hip Hop could not escape the fallout. Rasheeda's voice from the set, screaming Stinky BBL, "Back off my man," had already been clipped, edited, and turned into memes before sunrise. Twitter was in shambles. Instagram was flooded with reaction videos. And TikTok had already launched a challenge with fans reenacting Rasheeda's meltdown word for word. The scandal had crossed from gossip into cultural chaos, and everyone wanted to know what would happen next. At Frost Bistro, the tension was thick. Rasheeda had skipped her usual appearance at the restaurant, leaving staff and regulars whispering. Kirk sat in the corner booth, dark glasses on, ignoring his food as fans snapped photos of him through the windows. People muttered under their breath, "That's the man who can't keep his family together," and Kirk's face tightened each time he heard the word hotel. He tried to call Rasheeda, but every attempt went to voicemail. He left message after message. "Sheeda, please, let me explain. It wasn't like that. Don't let them spin it like this." But silence was her answer. Meanwhile, Rasheeda was with Carly Red, venting every ounce of her rage. Tears and fury blended as she slammed her hands on the table. "I've built everything with him. Everything. And after all these years, all the lies, all the humiliation, he still can't stop. And now, Kendra, Jock's wife, I'm supposed to sit back and take this." Carly, never one to miss an opportunity to stir, leaned in with wide eyes. "Girl, you don't need him. You need to make a move that shakes the whole city. You need to show him you ain't weak." At the same time, Jock confronted Kendra at their home. His voice was heavy with disbelief and anger, pacing back and forth in their living room. "You made me look like a fool," he snapped. "After everything I did to prove to people I changed, you walk into a hotel with Kirk Frost. What am I supposed to tell my kids? What am I supposed to tell the world?" Kendra raised her voice for the first time, her patience cracking. "You act like I'm guilty of something. I was meeting him for business. Jock. Legal work. That's it? But you and everybody else want to twist it into something dirty." Jock's laugh was bitter, sharp. "Business? At midnight? In a hotel? Come on, Kendra. Even you know that don't sound right." The cracks in their marriage were now public, with fans dissecting every word, every clip, every post. People started tagging Jock in memes about karma, saying his past had finally come back to haunt him. Others dragged Kendra for hypocrisy, pointing out how she always played the role of the lawyer who had it all together, only to end up in the very drama she looked down on. Back at Rasheeda's house, Kelsey sat quietly while her mom tried to gather herself. "Mama, you can't let this break you. You stronger than this. You've always been stronger than this. But you gotta stop letting him embarrass you. Everybody's watching. Everybody's waiting to see if you gone stay or go." Rasheeda wiped her tears, staring at the table in silence. Her mind replayed every time Kirk had sworn he was done with the games. Every time she chose to believe him. And every time she ended up betrayed again. But what made everything worse was the next twist: new footage. A different angle from the hotel security cameras leaked online, this time showing Kirk and Kendra in the elevator. It wasn't explicit, but the way they stood close. The way Kirk pressed the button and Kendra laughed at something he whispered. It fueled every rumor tenfold. The blogs went wild. Headlines screamed, "Kirk and Kendra elevator moment." Fans flooded the comments. "Ain't no way they just talking, and Rasheeda better wake up." When Rasheeda saw the new clip, her body froze. Carly had to grab her arm as she whispered, "Girl, that's it. That's proof." Rasheeda's chest heaved with rage as she said through clenched teeth, "He really thinks I'm stupid. He really thinks I'll sit here and let him drag me through this again." She stood, grabbed her keys, and announced, "I'm going to the studio. If he wants to act like a fool, I'm about to remind him who I am." Kirk, meanwhile, was in panic mode. He called Kendra nonstop, demanding she deny everything publicly. "You gotta say it was business. You gotta clear this up. You can't leave me hanging out here like this." But Kendra was done being cornered. "I'm not about to ruin my career defending you, Kirk. You're on your own." Jock wasn't silent either. That night, he went live on Instagram, his voice tense but controlled. "Look, I don't know what y'all saw, but I know what it looked like. And I know my wife. But I also know my pride. And I ain't about to let nobody make me look stupid on national TV." The comments section exploded. Fans spamming him with clown emojis, fire emojis, and endless questions. Some begged him to leave Kendra, others urged him to fight for her. But everyone agreed this scandal wasn't dying down anytime soon. The families were torn, the fans divided, and the drama was only escalating. In one corner, Rasheeda was gearing up for war. In another, Jock was demanding answers. And in the middle of it all, Kirk and Kendra were caught in a web of lies, half-truths, and whispers that threatened to tear everything apart. The stage was set for the next confrontation, and nobody knew who would come out unscathed. That evening, the production team knew they had struck gold. The drama had reached a fever pitch, and there was no way to contain it. Cameras were sent to every corner of Atlanta, ready to capture the next explosion. By nightfall, word had spread that Rasheeda demanded a sit-down with both Kirk and Kendra on camera. It wasn't just a meeting. It was a showdown. Fans were already buzzing online, posting countdowns like it was a prize fight. The scene was set in a private lounge, dim lights casting long shadows across leather sofas, the atmosphere thick with tension. Rasheeda walked in first, flawless, as always, but her eyes carried the weight of years of betrayal. Her walk was steady, but her jaw was clenched tight, and every step felt like the ground was shaking beneath her heels. She sat down, crossed her legs, and folded her arms across her chest, daring anyone to test her patience. Kirk arrived second. He tried his best to keep calm, wearing that blank expression he always put on when he was cornered, but the sweat on his forehead betrayed him. He sat a few feet away from Rasheeda, not daring to get too close, his hands clasped tightly together. He avoided her eyes, and that only fueled her fury. Finally, Kendra entered, her lawyer composure intact, but her shoulders stiff. She wasn't smiling this time. She wasn't bold or playful. She looked like a woman who knew the entire city was watching, waiting for her to slip. She sat on the opposite end of the sofa, her back straight, her chin lifted. Rasheeda wasted no time. "Let's cut the lies," she said sharply, her voice slicing through the silence. "You embarrassed me in front of the world again. And you," she turned her glare to Kendra, "you a married woman, but you walking into hotels with my husband. What you call that? Business. Don't insult my intelligence." Kendra inhaled deeply, her lawyer instincts kicking in. "Rasheeda, with all due respect, you need to stop coming for me like I'm the enemy. I had a meeting with Kirk. Legal professional. Nothing more." "Professional?" Rasheeda's voice cracked into a bitter laugh. "At midnight, in a hotel. Girl, please. You think I'm dumb? The fans ain't dumb either. They saw that footage. They saw the elevator. That ain't business. That's betrayal." Kirk tried to cut in, his voice low and shaky. "Sheeda, it wasn't like that. I swear. You know me." That was the wrong thing to say. Rasheeda's body snapped toward him, her eyes blazing. "Yeah, I do know you. I know you better than anybody. I know your lies. I know your excuses. I know every damn trick in your book. And I'm tired. I'm sick and tired of you dragging me through the mud while you out here acting like some teenage boy who don't know how to be a husband." The room was suffocating. Even the cameras zoomed in, catching every twitch, every teardrop forming at the corner of her eye. Kendra shifted uncomfortably, her face tight. "Look, I respect your marriage. I respect Jock. I respect myself. I'm not sneaking around with your man. Believe what you want, but I know my truth." Rasheeda leaned forward, her voice dropping to a dangerous whisper. "Your truth. Let me tell you mine. My truth is, if you ever step near him again, if you ever give him a second glance, I'ma remind you exactly why they call me boss chick. Don't play with me." Kendra's composure cracked for the first time. "Girl, you not about to threaten me on camera. You better calm down before you regret it." The moment was explosive. Jock, who had been waiting outside, stormed in just in time to hear Kendra's last words. His face twisted in anger. "Regret it? Regret what, Kendra? You supposed to be my wife? You supposed to be loyal to me? But here you are, sitting next to Kirk, defending yourself like this some court case. You embarrassing me in front of the whole damn world." Kendra stood, pointing her finger at Jock. "Don't you dare talk to me about embarrassment. You cheated for years. You humiliated me long before this. And now you want to act like you the victim. Nah, Jock, you don't get to play that role." Rasheeda slammed her hand on the table, her voice breaking the shouting match. "This ain't about you, Jock. This is about me and him." She jabbed her finger at Kirk again. "And I'm done. Done being the fool. Done letting you clown me. Done protecting you from the truth." For a moment, Kirk looked like a man unraveling. His shoulders sagged, his eyes darted between the two women and Jock, knowing no matter what he said, the damage was done. He muttered, almost to himself, "Ain't nobody gone, believe me anyway." The cast members watching from the sidelines were stunned into silence. Carly covered her mouth with both hands, her eyes wide. Yandy whispered, "This right here is history. They'll never come back from this." Erica nodded slowly, adding, "This season just changed everything." And then, the bomb dropped. The producer's phone buzzed, and he handed it to one of the assistants, who whispered something to him. Within seconds, word spread across the room. New screenshots had leaked online, alleged text messages between Kirk and Kendra, full of late-night where you at messages, playful emojis, and one line that read, "Room's ready. Come through." The phones in the room lit up as everyone rushed to see for themselves. Gasps filled the air. Jock's face went red, his hands shaking as he scrolled. Rasheeda's heart sank, her breathing uneven, but her fury burned hotter than ever. She turned to Kendra, her voice trembling with both pain and rage. You still want to talk about business? You still want to act like you innocent? Explain this. She shoved the phone toward her, the screen glowing with damning evidence. Kendra's eyes flickered, her lips parted, but no words came out. For the first time, her confidence cracked completely. And in that moment, the set became a war zone. 2 marriages shattered before the cameras, 2 families torn apart, and the entire cast caught in the crossfire of betrayal, lies, and a scandal too big to contain. The fans watching from home didn't just want answers, they demanded blood. And this was only the beginning. By the time the sun rose the next morning, Atlanta was on fire. Blogs were posting the leaked screenshots every 5 minutes. Podcasts were dedicating emergency episodes, and Twitter couldn't stop dragging Kirk and Kendra. The hashtag room ready trended worldwide. Memes of Rasheeda screaming Stinky BBL were spliced with the texts that said rooms ready, come through. Fans were merciless. You can't call it business when the receipts say booty call. One viral post read. Another wrote, Kendra lost her whole courtroom credibility for Kirk Frost. Tragic. Inside her home, Rasheeda sat in silence, scrolling through the chaos. She had barely slept. Her eyes were swollen, her hands trembling each time a new clip surfaced. Kelsey brought her a cup of tea and tried to steady her mother's shaking voice. Mama, this ain't even about love anymore. This about respect. He don't respect you. He never has. Rasheeda swallowed hard, whispering, and the world knows it now. Kirk, meanwhile, was scrambling. He locked himself in his office, phone pressed to his ear, as he begged anyone who would listen. It's fake. They edited those messages. That's not me. But deep down, he knew the tone in those texts was too familiar, too believable. Every denial felt weaker than the last. Even his longtime friends stopped answering his calls. Over at Jock's house, the atmosphere was no less explosive. Jock had pulled an all-nighter, pacing the living room while Kendra sat on the couch, arms crossed. His voice cracked with fury. You let me down in front of the whole city. People laughing at me, saying I'm soft, saying I can't control my house. You think I can bounce back from this? Kendra snapped back. Bounce back. Jock, you've been embarrassing me since before we got married. Don't put this all on me like you some saint. Yeah, I made a mistake being in that hotel. But don't forget, you gave me plenty of reasons to stop caring about appearances. Jock shook his head, eyes burning with betrayal. This ain't about appearances, Kendra. This about loyalty. You supposed to be my wife? You supposed to hold me down, not run around with Kirk Frost like he's some prize. The weight of his words filled the room. And for the first time, Kendra's eyes dropped to the floor. On set, the producers were in heaven, but the cast was in chaos. Carly Red arrived first, loud as always, phone in hand. Baby, I don't even need to say it. The receipts speak for themselves. She shouted, waving her screen at the cameras. Sierra shook her head, muttering, this ain't even TV anymore. This is real life falling apart. Yandi, always one to take the moral high ground, sighed, both of those marriages on the line. And they out here playing games. This ain't cute no more. When Rasheeda arrived, the air went still. She looked fierce, her outfit immaculate, but her eyes betrayed exhaustion. Without a word, she dropped her bag, sat down, and glared into the cameras. If Kirk wants to play me in public, then let's finish this in public. I'm done protecting him. I'm done being the one who looks stupid. Kirk showed up minutes later, and the room turned cold. He walked in, trying to flash that empty smile, but no one bought it. The cast's eyes followed him like predators sizing up prey. What? He muttered defensively. Y'all believe the internet over me now. Rasheeda snapped. The internet didn't marry me. The internet didn't promise me loyalty. You did. And what did I get in return? Receipts. Screenshots. Another scandal. Her voice broke on the last word, but she held herself together, her nails digging into her palms. Carly, never missing a beat, chimed in. Receipts don't lie. Boo. That's your number. That's your tone. Don't play dumb. Kendra walked in next, the room buzzing with whispers. She looked shaken, her usual confidence gone. Her voice wavered as she addressed Jock, who had followed close behind. I swear, it's not what it looks like. Jock barked a bitter laugh. Stop insulting me. You've been insulting me since the first video dropped. I ain't stupid. Kendra, I'm humiliated, but I ain't stupid. The producers signaled the cameras to tighten their focus. The confrontation was inevitable. Rasheeda stood, pointing directly at Kendra. You reckon your marriage, you reckon mine, and for what? For him. For Kirk Frost. Stinky BBL, you coulda aimed higher. Gasps filled the room as cast members clutched their chests. Kendra's face twisted in anger. Don't call me that again. I ain't no stinky nothing. And don't act like your man didn't come running to me. He the one who sent the first message. The bombshell landed like a grenade. Everyone erupted. Carly screamed, "Oh." She said he slid first. Sierra shouted, "Lord, this too much." Jock turned to Kirk, his fists clenched, his voice shaking with rage. "So, you hitting my wife up? You sliding in her phone behind my back?" Kirk stuttered, trying to form words, but Rasheeda's fury drowned him out. "I knew it. I knew you'd drag me down again, but Jock, you better believe me when I say, if your wife was dumb enough to entertain him, she gonna feel the pain too." The room was chaos, voices overlapping, chairs scraping, producers trying to maintain order while the cameras rolled. Outside, fans watching live updates online were losing their minds. "This the wildest season in history," one tweeted. Another wrote, "They not even acting no more. This is real." By the time the shouting died down, nothing was resolved. Jock stormed out, slamming the door so hard the walls shook. Kendra sat stiff, tears pooling but refusing to fall. Rasheeda stood tall, her fury unshaken, and Kirk sat slumped in the corner, the weight of 2 broken marriages pressing down on his shoulders. But the night wasn't finished. As everyone left, another leak hit the blogs, an alleged hotel receipt in Kirk's name. Dated the same night, same hotel, same floor. The evidence was stacking higher, and the truth was getting harder to deny. The city was alive with anticipation, and the cast knew the next encounter would not just be explosive, it would be historic. 2 marriages were hanging by a thread, reputations were burning, and the line between love and war had completely vanished. The following week was pure chaos. Atlanta couldn't catch its breath, and neither could the cast. Every barbershop, nail salon, and restaurant in the city was buzzing with the same question. Did Kirk and Kendra really spend the night together? The leaked hotel receipt sent the scandal into overdrive, and now nobody could hide. Every angle was dissected, every word twisted, every post screenshot and reposted with new theories. Fans weren't just watching the drama unfold, they were living it in real time, like detectives piecing together a crime scene. Rasheeda stayed quiet on social media for 3 days, which only fueled speculation. When she finally posted, it wasn't a statement, but a selfie. Her face was flawless, lips glossed, eyes shaded by oversized sunglasses. The caption was short but lethal. "Boss chick energy. I said what I said." The comments exploded. "We love a strong queen," one fan wrote. Another posted, "Leave him, sis, the streets got your back." But underneath the support, there were skeptics too. "She ain't leaving Kirk. She never does," one person wrote, earning thousands of likes. Kirk, on the other hand, couldn't hide. He was ambushed outside Frost Bistro by paparazzi, microphones shoved in his face. "Kirk, what really happened at the hotel?" one reporter demanded. He forced a tired smile. "Man, y'all believe everything you see online. Come on, y'all know better. I ain't out here doing nothing wrong." But as he tried to slide into his car, one fan yelled, "Then why your name on the receipt?" His face dropped, and the clip went viral in minutes. Meanwhile, Jock was unraveling. He showed up to the studio with bags under his eyes, barely speaking. When the cameras pressed him for a confessional, he finally let it out. "This ain't even about Kirk no more. This about Kendra. That's my wife. I put a ring on her finger. I stood in front of God, my kids, my family, and I said vows. And now the whole city clowning me. You think I can come back from this? I don't know, man, I really don't." His voice cracked, his head dropped, and the internet immediately flooded with sympathy and memes in equal measure. Kendra wasn't silent either. She sat down with Yandi in a filmed conversation, her voice steady but her eyes tired. "People love to assume the worst. I've worked my whole life to build my career, my reputation. And now everybody dragging me over a situation that ain't even what they think. Kirk reached out to me for legal advice, and yeah, we met at a hotel because he said it was private. That's it. Did I make a mistake going? Probably. But I'm not having an affair with him. And I don't care what people want to believe, I know my truth." Yandi leaned back, her face skeptical. "Sis, you gotta understand, the optics are bad. Real bad. People not gonna believe business when they see midnight hotel receipts and flirty texts." Kendra's jaw tightened. "Then that's on them. I can't control the narrative." But Yandi's silence said everything. Nobody in the room was fully convinced. Rasheeda, however, wasn't letting up. When filming resumed, she walked straight up to Kendra with cameras rolling. "So you giving out legal advice in hotel rooms now?" She spat, her tone dripping with sarcasm. "You think I'm stupid? You think Jock's stupid? The whole world saw those texts, and you still standing here lying?" Kendra's face hardened. "You don't scare me, Rasheeda. I'm not gonna let you talk to me like I'm some side chick. I don't owe you an explanation, because I didn't do what you think I did." "Oh, you owe me plenty," Rasheeda shot back. "You owe me respect, you owe me honesty, and you owe Jock his dignity, because right now, everybody laughing at him, and it's your fault." At that moment, Jock stormed into the scene. His eyes were bloodshot, his voice rough. "You know what the problem is? The problem is everybody out here talking except the two people who started. This her and Kirk." He pointed at Kendra and Kirk, his hands shaking. "So let's stop the games. Y'all say it's nothing. Prove it. Look me in my eye, and tell me y'all ain't messing around." The silence that followed was unbearable. Kirk looked down at the floor, avoiding eye contact. Kendra swallowed hard, then forced herself to speak. "We're not messing around." But Jock wasn't buying it. "Then why can't he look at me? Why can't he say it himself?" He turned to Kirk, his voice trembling with rage. "Man up. Tell me right now you didn't cross the line with my wife." The cameras zoomed in. Kirk finally lifted his eyes, but his lips trembled. "It's not what it looks like," he muttered weakly. That was all Jock needed. He lunged forward, restrained only by producers who rushed in to separate the men. Rasheeda was screaming, "You see. He can't even deny it." Kendra was shouting, "Stop, stop." The cast members tried to pull them apart, but the damage was already done. Later that night, clips of the near fight leaked online, and fans went wild. Jock about to fold Kirk in half. One tweet read, "Rasheeda, finally done. I can feel it." Another wrote, memes, edits, and commentary flooded timelines, turning the scandal into the hottest topic in entertainment. But behind the scenes, the wounds were deeper than the cameras could capture. Jock sat alone in his car, whispering to himself, "Maybe I can't do this no more." Rasheeda sat in her kitchen, staring at her wedding ring, debating whether to take it off. And Kirk. He sat in an empty parking lot, staring at his phone, as the weight of his lies closed in. The scandal had gone from rumor to war, and the fallout was far from over. Families were breaking, friendships were fractured, and the love and hip-hop empire was shaking at its core. Everyone knew the next episode would be the one that shattered everything for good. Atlanta was still trembling under the weight of the scandal. The hotel receipts, the elevator clip, the leaked text, every layer of this mess kept pulling fans deeper into chaos. By now, the streets weren't just whispering. They were screaming. The radio stations replayed Rasheeda's infamous line "Stinky BBL, back off my man." On loop, DJs remixing it into beats that clubs blasted until sunrise. What should have been private pain had become the city's favorite soundtrack. Rasheeda sat in her boutique office, surrounded by racks of clothes. But she wasn't paying attention to fashion or business. Her phone buzzed nonstop, every new alert another reminder that her life was a trending topic. She finally threw the phone onto the desk and muttered, "I can't keep doing this." Her assistant tiptoed in, careful not to trigger her boss's fury. "Sheeda, girl, you want me to handle the social media? Maybe issue a statement." Rasheeda shook her head. "A statement ain't gonna fix betrayal. People don't want to hear words. They want to see action. And I'm about to give it to them." Meanwhile, across town, Jock was drowning in humiliation. His barbershop had turned into a circus, clients joking openly. "Yo Jock, you better start a reality show called Who's Sleeping with My Wife, you'll make millions." Jock tried to laugh it off, but inside his chest was a storm. When his cousin pulled him aside, whispering, "Bro, this bad for business, real bad. People don't respect you no more." Jock slammed his hand on the chair. "Respect? You think I care about the internet's respect? I care about the woman I married, disrespecting me in front of the world. I don't even know if I can look her in the eye anymore." Kendra, though, wasn't folding under pressure. In her high-rise apartment, she prepared for war. She flipped through her law books, highlighting passages about defamation, reputation, and intent. "If they want to ruin my career," she muttered, "I'll remind them I'm a lawyer first, reality star second." She filmed an Instagram story.com, but icy. "Y'all can believe what you want, but I know my truth. Don't let edited receipts and fake texts fool you. The truth always comes out." She ended it with a smirk, but as soon as the camera shut off, her shoulders slumped. Alone, the weight was heavier. Kirk wasn't handling things any better. At Frost Bistro, he sat at the bar nursing a drink, while the staff exchanged nervous glances. "You all right, boss?" one asked. Kirk forced a smile. "Yeah, I'm good," but the bartender whispered to another server. "Man, he looked like he's about to break. You know Sheeta, gonna leave him this time." The word stung even though he pretended not to hear. Kirk stepped outside, pulled his phone, and dialed Rasheeda again. Straight to voicemail. He tried Jock. No answer. He even tried Kendra, but she declined the call instantly. For the first time, Kirk Frost felt like he had no one in his corner. Production, however, saw gold in the wreckage. They staged a dinner scene, inviting the core cast under the pretense of clearing the air, but everyone knew it was a trap to ignite fireworks. The restaurant was set with candles and cameras, the producers whispering, "Let's make history tonight." Rasheeda walked in first, her outfit screaming power, her eyes sharper than knives. She didn't bother greeting anyone. Moments later, Jock entered, his face heavy, shoulders tense, and the room chilled with his silence. Then Kendra appeared, her presence commanding attention. The whispers started immediately. "Here she come," Carly muttered, fanning herself like she was watching theater. Finally, Kirk strolled in last, trying to act casual, but the sweat beading on his forehead betrayed his nerves. The air was thick. Plates clinked, glasses poured, but no one spoke. Finally, Rasheeda slammed her fork down. "Enough pretending. We ain't here to eat. We here to deal with the elephant in the room." She turned her glare on Kirk. "You dragged me through the mud again, and this time, I don't know if I'm coming back." Kirk cleared his throat. "Sheeta, it wasn't like that. You know me, don't you dare," she snapped. "Don't you dare say that tired line again. I know you, all right. I know the liar, the manipulator, the cheater. That's who I married. That's who you keep proving you are." Her voice cracked, but her eyes didn't blink. Jock leaned forward, pointing at Kirk. "And you, man, I should beat your ass. You hit up my wife. You sneak around behind my back. You got no respect." "None." His chair screeched as he pushed back, ready to lunge, but producers rushed in, their hands on his shoulders. Kendra finally spoke, her tone sharp. "Stop acting like I'm some victim here. I told y'all already it was business. Nothing more. But y'all keep dragging my name, calling me out, trying to break me. I'm not gonna let y'all destroy me because you can't handle your marriages." Rasheeda erupted. "Business. At midnight, with hotel receipts and texts, talking about rooms ready. Girl, please. You lying to yourself if you think anybody believes that." Kendra's composure broke. "You know what? Maybe if you handled your husband right, he wouldn't be looking for attention elsewhere." The table gasped. Carly dropped her fork with a loud clang. Yandi muttered, "Oh no, she didn't." Jock's face turned crimson as he stood halfway out of his chair. "Kendra, you really said that? You really blaming her for your mess?" The shouting overlapped, voices colliding, producers trying to calm the storm. Rasheeda stood, her finger jabbing toward Kendra. "Say one more word about my marriage, and I'll show you why I'm boss chick." Kendra stood too, their faces inches apart. The cameras zoomed, catching every vein, every tear, every clenched jaw. Carly leaned back, grinning wickedly. Oh, this about to be the moment of the season. And then, like a bomb, another twist dropped. A blogger sitting at a nearby table planted by producers shouted, "New receipts just dropped." Phones lit up instantly. The entire cast scrambled to check. A new set of screenshots showed Kirk allegedly sending Kendra money transfers with the memo line, "For the room." The room fell into stunned silence. Rasheeda stared at Kirk, her chest rising and falling like a storm. Jock's fists tightened. Kendra's face went pale. Kirk muttered, "That's fake. That's gotta be fake." But no one believed him. Not anymore. Rasheeda grabbed her purse, her voice shaking. "You just paid for your own funeral. Kirk. Marriage over." Jock turned to Kendra, his voice breaking. "And you. Don't bother coming home tonight." The cameras captured it all, the tears, the fury, the collapse of two marriages in real time. The cast whispered in shock. Carly whispered gleefully, "Baby, Atlanta ain't never seen drama like this." The night ended with Rasheeda walking out into the cold air, slamming the car door, and speeding away. Jock left next, fists still clenched, his car tires screeching. Kirk sat slumped at the table. His career, his marriage, his reputation, all in tatters. Kendra sat frozen, her lawyer mask shattered, realizing her empire might crumble too. And as the producers packed up, the crew whispered, "This ain't just reality TV anymore. This is real life breaking apart on camera." The fallout from that dinner was like a bomb going off across Atlanta. The very next morning, gossip, blogs, podcasts, and even local news stations were dissecting every frame of the footage. Clips of Rasheeda storming out, Jock slamming his fist on the table, and Kirk, looking helpless under the glow of the receipts, were replayed on a loop. The internet had crowned it the Frost Robinson massacre. Fans were glued to their phones, dropping comments like 2 marriages dead in one night and VH1 better pay these people double, because this season writing itself. At Rasheeda's house, the silence was heavy. She sat at her kitchen island, staring at her untouched coffee, her ring finger bare for the first time in years. Kelsey walked in, eyes red from crying the night before. "Mama," she whispered, "are you really done?" Rasheeda's eyes filled with tears, but her voice was firm. "Baby, I should have been done a long time ago. I built a brand, a business, a life. I don't need him dragging me through the mud every season. He broke me for the last time." Kelsey hugged her tightly, both of them crying into each other's shoulders. Meanwhile, Kirk was holed up in a hotel ironically, the very thing that started it all. His phone buzzed non-stop, but he ignored most of the calls. When he finally answered, it was his friend Benzino on the line. "Man, you really messed up this time. Rasheeda ain't coming back. You think the streets gon' forgive you? They clowning you worse than ever. I don't even know how you gon' show your face." Kirk groaned, his head in his hands. "It wasn't supposed to go this far. I don't even know anymore." But the truth was, he did know. He just didn't want to face it. Across town, Jock was sitting in his driveway, engine off, hands gripping the steering wheel. He hadn't slept. He hadn't eaten. All he could see were those damn receipts for the room. His phone buzzed with texts from his boys, all of them urging him to leave Kendra. "She embarrassed you too many times." One message read, "Don't let her clown you like Kirk clowned Rasheeda." Jock rubbed his temples, whispering to himself, "Am I really about to be Kirk too? 0. Nah, I can't." Inside the house, Kendra was pacing back and forth, her phone blowing up with angry DMS. She finally sat down and called her mother. "Mama, it's not true. I swear to you, I wasn't sleeping with him, but nobody believes me. The blogs, the fans, even Jockey won't look at me." Her mother's voice was weary. "Baby, perception is reality in this game. You married a man in the spotlight. You signed up for this? But you better fight for your truth, because if you don't, they gon' bury you alive." The producers smelled blood and immediately arranged a new sit-down, this time with just Rasheeda and Kendra. It was supposed to be a chance to clear the air, but everyone knew it would be a They met at a neutral studio space, cameras positioned to catch every glare. Rasheeda walked in first, dressed head to toe in black, her energy radiating power. Kendra arrived moments later, sharp in a tailored blazer, but her eyes darted nervously. The tension was unbearable. "Let's get this straight," Rasheeda began, her voice cold. "You can say business, you can say private meeting, you can say whatever you want, but when my husband's name on a hotel receipt, when texts say room ready, and when you stand next to him in an elevator at midnight, I don't need a jury to convict you. The people already did." Kendra took a deep breath, steadying her tone. "You keep acting like I chased him. I didn't. He came to me. He reached out. He wanted legal help, and I agreed. Did I make a mistake meeting him that way? Yeah, maybe, but don't put this all on me like I'm the villain. Your husband don't respect you. That's on him, not me." Rasheeda's eyes narrowed. "Don't you dare deflect. Don't you dare try to flip this. You knew he was married. You knew the cameras were watching, and you still entertained it? That makes you just as guilty." The two women leaned closer, their voices rising, the crew holding their breath. Rasheeda's hands trembled as she slammed the table. "I stayed with Kirk when the world told me to leave. I defended him, I fought for him, I protected our family. And you walk in and try to tear it all down with one stupid night. You think I won't fight you over this? You wrong?" Kendra's composure cracked, her voice sharp. "You think you the only one with pride? You think I wanted this? I'm married to Rasheeda. I got a man at home, and now everybody calling me trash. You think I wanted that? Hell no. But I'm not about to sit here and take all the blame when your husband been the problem since day one." The argument exploded, voices echoing off the walls, producers struggling to control the chaos. And right then, Jock barged into the room. His eyes were wild, his voice thunderous. "Both of y'all shut the hell up. This ain't just about you. This about me, this about my kids, this about my family. And I'm sick of it." He turned on Kendra, his voice trembling with both anger and heartbreak. "You were supposed to be my peace, my partner, and now you out here making me look like a fool? I can't even walk down the street without people clowning me. You broke me, Kendra. You broke me." Kendra's face softened, tears forming. "Jock, I never meant to don't," Jock shouted, slamming his hand against the wall. "Don't you dare say you never meant to, because you knew exactly what it looked like, and you still went." The cameras captured every second: Jock's fury, Rasheeda's silent tears, Kendra's trembling hands. And then, the room fell into a heavy silence. No one moved, no one breathed. Finally, Jock spoke again, his voice low and hollow. "I can't do this anymore. You embarrassed me one too many times. This marriage, it's done." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Kendra gasped, covering her mouth as tears spilled. Rasheeda whispered, "Welcome to my world." The producers knew they had just filmed the climax of the season, but the real story was just beginning, because outside those walls, Atlanta was already buzzing with a new Lika, mysterious voice, recording allegedly of Kirk and Kendra laughing together in that very hotel room. And the fans, they were waiting, popcorn in hand, ready for the next explosion. The whispers turned to screams the moment the video hit the blogs. Phones across Atlanta lit up with notifications, and within minutes, the footage had gone viral. The clip was grainy, clearly from a hidden camera in the hotel hallway, but the figures were unmistakable. Kirk and Kendra stepping out of the same room in the early hours of the morning. Kirk adjusting his jacket, Kendra fixing her hair. They didn't kiss, they didn't hold hands, but the body language told the whole story. The smirk on Kirk's face, the nervous laugh from Kendra was all fans needed to crown the scandal hotel gate. Twitter exploded, not the walk of shame caught on tape. One post read, racking up 1 million views in hours. Another wrote, "Kendra risked it all for Kirk Frost. Girl Jock, better serve her divorce papers in neon ink." Memes piled up, one of Rasheeda with her famous line, captioned "Stinky BBL, back off my man. And my hotel room too." At her boutique, Rasheeda watched the clip in stunned silence. Her phone buzzed nonstop, friends and fans sending links. But she didn't need to see it more than once. She sat back, tears welling, before whispering to herself, "That's it. That's the proof. No more excuses." She pulled off her wedding ring and slammed it onto the counter, the metal clinking like a final nail in the coffin. At home, Kelsey begged her mother to stay strong. "Mama, you've carried him long enough. This is your moment to show the world you're done for good. Don't let him drag you down no more." Rasheeda nodded, her voice trembling but firm. "I hear you, and this time, I swear, I'm not going back." Meanwhile, Kirk sat in his car, watching the video on loop, sweat dripping down his face. He called Mona Scott, desperate. "Mona, you gotta help me. This is bad. They making me look like the villain of the century." Mona's voice was ice cold. "Kirk, you don't need my help. You need a miracle. And right now, miracles ain't in the budget." She hung up before he could respond, leaving him slumped in the driver's seat, his world collapsing. Kendra was drowning in shame. Her law clients started pulling out, her phone filled with messages like, "I thought you stood for professionalism," and, "A lawyer caught in hotel drama. I can't trust you." She locked herself in the bathroom, staring at her reflection. "How did I let it get this far?" she whispered, tears streaming. But she knew the answer. She'd underestimated the cameras, underestimated the streets, and now her reputation was ashes. Jock, however, was past tears. He was fire. He stormed into a studio session, pacing like a caged lion. His boys tried to calm him, but his fury boiled over. "She embarrassed me for the last time. I put her above every woman I ever dealt with, and she turned around and made me the joke of the city. Nah, man, I'm done. She can have Kirk. They deserve each other." The producers, sensing the climax of the season, set up a cast reunion event. All the major players were invited, and fans lined up outside just to catch glimpses. Inside, the tension was unbearable. The lights dimmed, the cameras rolled, and the stage was set. Rasheeda walked out first, head high, glowing in defiance. The crowd cheered, chanting her name. Next came Jock, stone-faced, his presence heavy with unspoken rage. Kendra appeared after, her posture rigid, eyes darting nervously. Finally, Kirk emerged, the boos from the audience drowning out any attempt at charm. The host wasted no time. "Atlanta has been on fire with Hotel Gate. Tonight, we want the truth. Rasheeda, what do you have to say to Kirk after everything that's come out?" Rasheeda leaned into the mic, her voice steady but sharp. "I gave that man chance after chance, and he threw it away every time. The video, the audio, the receipts. That's not rumors, that's reality. And reality is, my marriage is done. Kirk Frost is dead to me." The audience erupted in cheers, fans on their feet, clapping and screaming. The host turned to Jock. "And Jock, how are you handling this? Jock's voice was cold. I'm humiliated, I'm betrayed, and I'm angry. I don't even know who my wife is anymore. But one thing I do know, she ain't my wife for long. Gasps filled the room. Kendra's eyes widened, her lips trembling. Kendra tried to defend herself, her voice cracking. Y'all don't understand. Things aren't always what they look like. The audience booed loudly, cutting her off. Rasheeda leaned over with venom. Stop lying. You caught, you exposed. Own it. Kirk tried to speak, but Jock cut him off with a roar. Don't you dare open your mouth. You ruined your family. Now you ruined mine. If it wasn't for these cameras, I'd show you exactly how I feel. The tension was electric. Security stepping closer in case fists flew. The host raised a hand, trying to calm the chaos. Clearly, emotions are high. But one last question, do you think either marriage can survive this? The silence was heavy. Rasheeda shook her head. Jock stayed quiet, his jaw clenched. Kendra's tears spilled, but her silence said it all. Kirk stared at the floor, unable to meet anyone's eyes. The audience, the fans, the blogs, everyone knew the answer. These marriages weren't just broken, they were shattered. And the fallout would ripple far beyond the stage. Because, as the cast left the reunion, another bomb dropped online. Reports that Rasheeda had already contacted divorce lawyers. And Jock had filed papers of his own. The empire of love and hip hop had just witnessed the implosion of 2 marriages in one season, and fans were already calling it the most explosive storyline in franchise history. The streets buzzed, the fans debated, and the cast was left picking up pieces they might never put back together. And for Kirk and Kendra, the hotel night that was supposed to be their little secret had become the scandal that would haunt them forever. And now, after all the tears, the shouting, the receipts, and the leaks, we're left standing in the wreckage of not one, but 2 marriages torn apart on the biggest stage possible. Kirk and Rasheeda, once the cornerstone of love and hip-hop Atlanta, now dangling by the thinnest thread. Jock and Kendra, a couple who promised to prove the doubters wrong, shattered under the weight of their own secrets. What started as a grainy hotel clip has exploded into the scandal of the decade on audio leak, a hallway video, and a tidal wave of humiliation that no one can take back. The question on everyone's lips now is simple: where do they go from here? Will Rasheeda finally free herself from Kirk's endless cycle of betrayal? Or will history repeat itself yet again? Will Jock follow through with his vow to end things? Or will Kendra manage to lawyer her way back into his heart? And most importantly, how will the streets, the fans, and the love and hip-hop empire recover from a season that has set fire to everything we thought we knew? But this, family, is where you come in. Do you think Kirk and Kendra are telling the truth when they say it was all business, or are the leaks undeniable proof of betrayal? Should Rasheeda and Jock walk away for good? Or do you believe in forgiveness after the ultimate humiliation? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Because this is your chance to decide whose side you're on in Atlanta's messiest scandal yet. If you've been glued to the drama, don't stop now. Hit that like button if you believe Rasheeda deserves better. Smash subscribe so you never miss the next twist, because trust me, this story is far from over. And turn on those notifications, because the streets of Atlanta don't sleep, and neither does this tea. So tell me, what do you think happens next?